Hey, this is Marcus Washington, MTC Media with the Georgetown pregame. I know I usually do these in the arena. There are some new rules we've been given about when we're allowed to have access. I'm hoping with today being the first home game at Cap One, I can kind of get a gauge on the on court access where I usually tape these, and if I have time to tape these on the court and be able to get them out in a timely fashion. I guess I'll find out more today. Obviously, I was caught a little off guard that some of the rules have changed. So it's kind of stinks because I love to do them out on the court. I might do a little short that we'll put on stuff like our TikTok channel and stuff like that. That will be in arena, but this our actual pre-game preview itself, I'm going to go ahead and do it here so I can get it out in a timely fashion. So today is Fairfield. Fairfield is coming off of a 96-58 loss to Rhode Island, a game that I watched about 1.5 times. I watched it and then I went back to watch for specific things. And, I want to give you a breakdown of Fairfield's what they like to do offensively and defensively, and then my keys. So offensively, they ran some action to isolate their big, which is Peyton Smith. They try to isolate him in post. They involved him in wing screen and rolls. These are things that you're seeing from a lot of teams now. If you watched Kansas, North Carolina last night, especially in the first half, you saw a lot of wing screen and rolls for Hunter Dickinson. So you say, why the wing screen and roll and not at the top? Well, what it does is with that wing screen and roll, it isolates one side of the floor. And if you wall that side of the floor and they're coming off a screen roll, that also allows for skips. So I can wing skip, I can corner skip, where presumably you have guys that that can shoot it. So that's a lot of offenses. That's what you would like to do. What you want is long closeouts. And what is happening is with that is it causes long closeouts on those wing screen and rolls if you wall at the nail. And so that's why you're seeing that more and more and more. In the first half, Fairfield ran some of those actions, and it's something to watch for today. There are times in their offense where their guards, whether it's the starters or the ones that come off the bench, have tremendously horrible shot selection. There was a reason why they shot 4 for 29 from three, and a lot of it was shot selection. Now, part of it is how well can they truly shoot it. But when you looked at the shot selection in the Rhode Island game, it was pretty bad. Guys were literally pulling up from NBA threes, and that's obviously it's not who they are. The other thing you can see Georgetown try to do to their offense today is pressure them, not necessarily full court, but 3/4 court in man. And it's one of those things where you're not always looking for steal, but you take them out their rhythm, you take them out their kickoff points in the offense, and those things happen. And I thought Rhode Island did a great job of doing that, and it sped up Fairfield. It made Fairfield have guys had the ball in their hands in places on the floor that obviously they had no business having the ball in their hands in, and those type of things. But their guards will run it up fast. At least against Rhode Island, they ran it up fast when they got pressured. And then, it became a little bit of a clown show at times. Defensively, they started in man. They were switching all perimeter actions involving the ball handler. When Rhode Island cut hard, or if the roll guy was cutting hard, they were getting anything that they wanted. So one of the things about cutting hard is that 45 cut. You didn't see Rhode Island do it as much of the 45 cut as much as I would do it. But part of the reason why is because the tag guy was not getting on the roll fast enough. So a lot of times they would run that and the tag guy would get there late and the roll guy would have layups or at least something at the front of the rim or something short. So, and that was because the tag guy generally was not far enough in the lane, maybe because in their scout, they were supposed to be on the shooter and they didn't want that skip there and so on and so forth. But they gave up a lot of layups and they did not defend screen action well at all. When Rhode Island pushed the ball, Fairfield did not get into balanced defensive transition. They were unbalanced in their transition defense constantly, which allowed Rhode Island, when they pushed the ball hard, to get terrific looks. Georgetown pushes the ball hard, I have no doubts. Now, you still have to make the shot. You still have to make the correct decision. But those opportunities will be there if they push the ball hard. Fairfield was so undisciplined on defense that they fouled. And part of this is being undisciplined, being not in the right place at the right time, on time, and those type of things. So it's a lot of reaching, it was a lot of bumping, it's a lot of those things. Now, I want to tell you right now, for those who did not watch it, that game got chippy. Rhode Island ended up with multiple technicals on players. And I don't know exactly what was going on, but the game got uber chippy. So watch for that. And a lot of it was Fairfield was getting their rear ends kicked. And frankly didn't like getting their rear ends kicked. But you know what they'll tell you? Well, you got to do something on the floor about getting your rear end kicked. Keys to the game. Attack Peyton Smith. Peyton Smith was 2 for 7 against Rhode Island, but he has post skills. Look, let me tell you something. Fairfield did not use him enough in that game, and he ends up fouling out. But they didn't use him enough in the offense. He has moves in the post. He can do some things. If I'm Georgetown, I'm definitely attacking him with my multiple bigs, whether it's Julius, whether it's Thomas, whether it's Drew. And Drew is the type that could give him trouble in this sense. If Drew pursues the ball the way he pursued the ball in the Lehigh game, and he keeps his feet moving, now on the offensive boards, he's at an odd angle being boxed out. And every now and again, you can get a foul or two called because someone's holding you, or it's the perception that they were out of position and they made physical contact. Those things can happen. So I would go after him, definitely. Because I do think that as far as Fairfield's concerned, he is a big key for them today. Play fast, but under control. As I talked about earlier, very unbalanced. Fairfield's very unbalanced in their transition defense. At least they were against Rhode Island, when Rhode Island pushed it up with purpose. That's not just pushing up the ball. Rhode Island, the wings got to run, and they got to run through. You got to clear the space. Too many teams run to the three-point line. You know, Georgetown has bigs, so some of those guys could get to the front of the rim, so on and so forth. But the wings have to run to the corners and allow to open that up. When they do that, you can attack. You'll get your share of threes, but you can attack. But again, you know, you don't want Georgetown shooting 35 threes either. I don't think that's just what type of team they are. They are a get in rhythm, establish other things, 3-point shooting team. Okay, dominate the boards. So the Fairfield, obviously, Rhode Island won the rebounding war, and I use one in quotes. But Fairfield has 16 offensive rebounds, and there was a couple of guys who had quite a bit of those rebounds, in part because they take so many unconventional shots. They take so many, he's not really going to shoot that, is he, type of shots. So what that does is, as funny as that may sound, what that does is that allows their wing guys, if motivated, they will attack the boards at the angle of that rebound, because you're flat-footed, you're not prepared, you don't think they're going to shoot that, you're worried about getting into your defensive assignment, and next thing you know, it's shot. And you're like, oh my gosh, what are you doing shooting that? Well, then the guys go in there and they run in and they grab offensive rebounds. I believe against Rhode Island, they had like 16 offensive rebounds. So those are the things that Georgetown needs to be key. So the winning the rebounding battle is more than just saying who had more rebounds, especially with a team that can shoot as poor as Fairfield shoots, because they're going to live off getting those other opportunities. Okay, so those are my keys today for Georgetown Hoyas. It's a 4:00 tip. Hopefully, I'll get to the arena and have access to the floor, you know, a couple hours or so before time. So look for maybe some in-arena content. We'll have to see when I get there. It's Marcus Washington, MTC Media.